Hi, you guys. In this video, I'm going to share another instance or experience I had when I was teaching parenting classes at a major university in Michigan. So, if you've watched my previous video, you'll know that for my classes, parents could voluntarily take the classes, or we sometimes also worked with parents that were court ordered to take the classes. Now, they would be in the same class. So, just to say that. Now, in this particular one, this class probably had about 15 parents. And again, these classes are anywhere from 10 to 14 weeks, depending on what the curriculum would be. And we had parents from all walks of life. So some that were um, well to do, that also had challenges in communicating with their kids, and some that were on, public assistance. So as far as finances go, it didn't, and these classes were offered free through the university because of government grants and things. So it wasn't like you had to pay for them or anything like that, which was a good thing, really, when you think about it. So, but I said that to say that it was like a good group of people and a good mix of people. So it wasn't all low income or all single parents or anything like that. We had some parents that were couples that were coming to the class, and sometimes they would take turns. Like the mom would come to one class and the dad would, stay home with the children, or vice versa. So again, all kinds of people from all walks of life. At the end of one of my classes, and remember, I always had the parents tell me what they were experiencing and the challenges that they were having. And then I would come up with some ideas, tips, techniques, solutions that they could use according to where they were at and how comfortable they would be in using, whatever techniques or strategies I would, present to them. And I also had, even though we had a question and answer session at the end of each class, sometimes parents did not want to ask a question with everyone present. So they would, ask if they could speak to me after class, and they would present me with whatever challenge they were dealing with. And together we would try to come up with ways for them to address those issues. So in this one class, a lady came up to me and she had been pretty quiet through the first few sessions of the class. I mean, she would participate and ask questions, but she would be taking a lot of notes, and she never seemed to be quite, I don't want to use the word comfortable with the curriculum, but it was like we were giving information that would work in different situations, but it didn't seem like we touched on her personal situation. And of course, we can't know the parents' personal situations unless they share that with us. So she asked if she could speak to me after class. And of course, I said yes. And she said to me, and she seemed pretty reserved, like she couldn't believe that she was going to share this with me. But almost seen and heard it all throughout my life. So what she presented to me was what was going on with her family unit. So she had a 10-year-old son, and the son belonged on a bowling league. Okay. And it was for kids. So they were learning to bowl, but they also had, competition, which competition is good. Kids, just like adults, need to be stretched beyond what we think we can do. And sometimes being able to see ourselves against competitors, we'll be able to know some things that we can do in order to improve our game or whatever it is that we're trying to get better at. But, you know, and I don't want to say all mothers because this isn't true for all mothers and fathers, but the mother had a tendency to want her son to focus on enjoying the game, enjoying his colleagues, and enjoy the art of learning to bowl and just having fun. And the father was more so on the competitive side. So he wanted his son to, win at all costs, which, I get. So, the issue was that they would do bowlings on Wednesday nights. Now, our class, the parenting classes she was coming to of mine, were on Thursday nights. So keep that in mind. They bowled on Wednesday, and then they had the class, my class, she had my class on Thursday. And I hadn't ever met her husband or anything like that. But anyway, so as a family, they would go to these bowling this bowling league and competition, and her son wasn't really good at that particular sport. So she said her husband, which was the boy's dad, would holler and yell and berate him in front of everyone publicly, tell him that he's holding his ball wrong, his stance was not correct. The reason why he has gutter balls is because he needs to improve the game. You know, all the things that someone would say when they're thinking that they're encouraging you. So I kind of get it. Um, but she said that she could see that this was weighing down on her son. He became really quiet and reticent. He didn't really enjoy this, going to be on the league as much as he had been in the beginning. And it was just, hard for him. So she said, I know you always come up with solutions and everything, but I don't have one for this. And as she's talking to me, I hate to tell you guys this, but sometimes I get information, I want to say from the universe. And it started to like give me some ideas and everything. But of course I didn't want to interrupt her because I needed to hear what the whole scenario was before I could decide if this information that's clouding my brain is going to be something that could work. So the information I gave her after she had told me everything was this. Since the father was the issue with berating the son, I wondered what it would be like if for 1 week, just at one time, that the father did not go with them just to see the boy's reaction and how he interacted with the others and how that game went. So what I said to her is, because I'm always, like I said, I work with people where they're at, and I do take into account the entire scenario that they share with me. And I knew that what I was about to say to her would be a challenge. I won't say difficult, but a challenge for her to wrap her mind around. And that's fine. When I do my parenting classes, I never give parents an ultimatum. You either do this or this will happen. I give them different ways to handle it, and then it's up to them to choose how they'll move forward. So I said to her, I said, what I'm about to say to you is going to be very controversial, controversial, and if you don't want to do it, we can come up with something else. I said, but if you're willing to try this for just 1 week, I would like to see what the result or the outcome would be. So she said, yeah, what is it? And I said, your husband is the one that makes the bowling experience challenging for your son. I didn't want to say difficult. No. So what if the next time you guys get ready to go bowling and he's putting on his coat, you just kind of look at him and say, no, honey, for once, I'd like to just take, we'll say Jimmy bowling with just the two of us. I'll order you a pizza. You can stay home, watch the game or whatever it is that guys watch when they're home alone. Okay, well, let's keep it clean, okay? Um, I said, and just tell them it's just an experiment that you're trying. And I said, and that way you'll be able to see, and your son will be able to see what it would be like for him to kind of be more relaxed and into the game. Oh my goodness. She said, Miss Brantley, that bowling is our, family time. And she said, and we go as parents with him to support him and everything. And I said, I get that you guys do go to support him, but and I was gentle when I said this, so please don't think I'm just out there. I said, but what does he see berating him publicly as support, do you think? And I already knew the answer to that. He didn't see it as supportive any more than you and I would if someone was behind our back hollering and yelling and cursing. But I wanted her to be able to see and feel what she was saying and seeing that that doesn't reconcile to what is actually happening, if that makes sense. So she said, I just don't know. I don't know if I can do that. I said, don't worry. If you're not comfortable with it, that's fine. I said we can brainstorm a couple of other things that we could do. Like for instance, if and again, I don't know any of this stuff. I don't know if the son was like really enjoying his time or just biding the time to be able to spend with his parents or something. I said maybe he wants to do a different sport. Have you guys thought about that? Is who came up with the idea of bowling? And she had said it was something that the school was doing with kids to give them different opportunities to check out different things that they normally wouldn't do, which makes sense. I remember in high school, we all learned how to bowl. And they also wanted us to learn how to ski. So, yeah, I get it. So she said, I don't know. I'll see. I'll let you know. I'll think about it. So I said, okay, fine. Now, remember, our class was Thursday. So that bowling, the next time they were going to go bowling would be the next Wednesday, which is the day before the class. I didn't really think a lot of it after that because I don't, once I give parents ideas and tips and suggestions, I don't spend the rest of the week when I'm eating dinner wondering if they applied it or wondering if it worked, or when I'm with my own kids wondering what someone else is doing with theirs. Because usually, if something works, they come to the class and they'll tell me, "Yeah, this worked," or "We need to tweak it some more," or whatever. But anyway, that next Thursday, this tall, uh, intimidating guy comes into my class like 10 minutes before the class even starts. So no one else is in the room. And he booms out in his heavy voice, um, "Where's Miss Brantley?" Yeah. I'm in a class by myself with this guy that seems angry. So I'm like, I'll tell her you stop by. No, I didn't say that. I said, "Who's asking?" He says, "That you?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm Jimmy's dad." I was like, "Oh, hell, what the hell?" And he said, but he held out his hand. He said, "But before you say anything, let me say this. I wanted to come out and meet the woman that told my wife to make me stay at home during my son's bowling." I said, I didn't make your wife do that. It was a suggestion. He said, "I know, but let me finish." He said, "I put up an argument about it because I didn't think anyone should be telling someone that their, dad couldn't go to his son's sporting event." He said, "But I said to myself, okay, I'll let you go because, my wife is really gentle with him and she just wants him to have fun." So I said to myself, he's going to, bowl even worse because he doesn't have someone there, you know, berating him. Okay. So, so he said, at first I told her, no, I'm going. And then I thought about it and I said, okay, I'm gonna let her see that these parenting classes, are full of crap, and she'll see exactly what it's like trying to encourage him when he's, not doing his best. And so he said, so I stayed home, like she said. And he said, and then when they got back, he said, my son did not look happy at all. And I said, "You're kidding." And because I'm thinking, I would be happy if people weren't cursing me and berating me in public. But okay, different strokes for different folks. And so he said, he looked at his son's face and his wife's face, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And the wife just looked at the son and she said, "I'm going to let Jimmy tell you what happened tonight." And he said, Jimmy took a deep breath and he said, "Dad, I, I have to tell you, I won a trophy." He said, "What do you mean you won a trophy?" And he said, "Well, it's one for the most improved player." He said, "And, tonight I was really just having fun and I was just playing, not playing, bowling, and really relaxed." He said, "And before I knew it, I started having a few strikes and I've never done that before." And the father said he was down. Um, okay, I'm not going to cry here. He said he could not believe it. And so he said his wife told the son to go out to the car now and show his, and get the trophy because the son didn't even want to bring it in the house. Now, to explain that, the son felt bad or disappointed that his father wasn't there when he actually won a trophy. And he said he knew how important that was for his father. So for him to win it without him being there, kind of, he was like, he was excited, but he was like, no, no, I won one. So the dad said to me, "See, that's why I need to have my phone off when I do these videos." Hold on. Jeez. Ah, off. How do I do that? Settings. But anyway, I can keep telling you guys this. Jeez, I hate this. I'm like, how come people aren't prepared when they're doing these things? Okay. So the father said, when his son looked up at him and said that he had won a trophy, he said, Sherry, you have no idea what you did with making me stay home. He said, because when he was younger, his father used to do the same thing to him when he played baseball. And he said, Sherry, he would come out on the field and he would curse and he would yell and he would threaten me. He said, and I will never forget, I was 10 years old and I looked up at him and I said, one day when I become a father, I'm going to treat my son like that. He said, and I realized I had turned into my father. So the story always gets me this way because a lot of times, I do these parenting classes and I'm like, oh, they're just fun to do. And then you get to see and hear and experience the impact that your ideas, your words, your suggestions have made for other families. And it goes from one generation to the other because you've broken the chains of misbehavior and allowed them to begin to create different behaviors, which results in different outcomes for their families and then for those families moving forward. So, okay. So he said, I just didn't realize that that's what had occurred with me. He said, so I told my wife I needed to meet the lady that made me stay home. So he said, that being said, do you mind if I join these parenting classes? Because if you can make that kind of a difference in just a few weeks with my entire family unit, I definitely need to be coming to these classes with my wife. So you can imagine by this time, and I'm not crying in front of the parents or anything like that, but I was so moved that I shook his hand and I told him that he was more than welcome to join our classes and to, communicate with us and interact, ask questions and things like that. But I did tell him that that particular advice was really controversial for me. And I even hesitated in sharing that because I told him your wife did not really want to do that. She tried to come up with other solutions and she said that was a family thing for you. Um, and she was kind of resistant. I said, but she thought about her son and she thought about you as her husband and she really wanted to do something that could make the difference and impact your family in a positive way. So that is one of the many stories that I share whenever I'm talking about my experience as a parenting instructor at a major university in Michigan. My next video, though, is going to talk about a situation where a parent needed more help than just coming to parenting classes. This parent was also the parent that I'm going to talk about in the next video, was also court ordered to take our classes. And he did do so, but you'll have to really tune in on that one to see the tragic result that occurred with him, well, by him. So I'll say bye for now. Remember, this is Life Lessons Learned. My mantra is, I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about that one. Knowledge is in the knowing, but wisdom is in the doing. And that father, in applying the lessons that he learned from missing his son's wonderful night when he very first won a trophy, but that father being able to apply those lessons moving forward and to treat and communicate with his son totally different, and to realize that he had become, like his father was with him. So sometimes it's just bringing home the fact of things that have occurred with us in our past to make us break that whole mold and begin to do something differently as we move forward. Okay, as you know, I do ask you to like, subscribe, and share this video. If you have any comments, please post them below. And for those of you that are interested in any of my books, they are available on Amazon.com. My website is sherrybrantley.com. See you next on the next video.